Hi, my name is Shanae Simmons, and welcome to my code walkthrough. I recently started biking for exercise and as a means of transportation, and I've made it a goal to bike at least once when I travel. So I created this web app called Circumvelo to display bike sharing hubs and bike rental vendors around the world. The user can scroll, they can zoom in, and also click on one of the pins to view the company name, the city, and the country for the location of the bike sharing vendor. So let's switch gears and check out how I built Circumvelo. With React as the framework, I used a free bike sharing API, a map API, and of course JavaScript, HTML, and CSS. The Mapbox API could access some of the components in React libraries, like the marker and the pop-up, like the pin. So it was easy to assign the info to the pins on the map. So I created a separate component called bike share info, and this information from the API would go on to the pin to be displayed when the pin is clicked on. So I established the default setting for the map, aka the viewport, which is right here, to New York. And then I created a change viewport function that would allow the map to be changed to whatever location, the longitude or latitude location that's selected by the user. So let me shift and then go to the aspects of the bike sharing location component. So I use the classic fetch option to retrieve the data in this function called get free bikes. And the data was then filtered from this function because the country location is needed for the drop-down list to work. So then I did the set state, to append the country with the longitude and latitude, which is here. And then the drop-down handler function, which is here, replaces the country data from the API with the two-letter country value, which is added to the props for the longitude and latitude of the map API. So I guess in other words, I created this drop-down event handler, or on-change event, that lists the two-letter country option, and then it's spelled out on the drop-down list with the full country name. So that country option is located here, which is from that bike sharing API. So essentially, as soon as that event is targeted or activated, both the APIs, since they have a common denominator of the longitude and latitude, it makes it easier for them to speak to each other. So I just added the two-letter value for the country to make another UI component accessible. So what happens is, after that change viewport is activated and the drop-down handler is, it's further down here. Here we go. That drop-down handler is activated, then the change viewport option function is activated as well, making the drop-down list talk to the Mapbox API. So putting all these components together, if we go back to the app, once the user selects the country from the drop-down list, then the map jumps to that country. And then you can choose to view which options you want to by clicking on the pin or scrolling, zooming out, or zooming in. So this was actually the most challenging part of the process, but also the most rewarding because I had to be strategic when passing props and setting the state, as well as passing the functions to set state. So there you have it, my code walkthrough for my app called Circumvalo.